Every irresistible.
So everyone, welcome to our July webinar focused on partnerships in Rotary. Now we have three very special guests who are going to talk about three very different partnerships with their Rotary clubs and what were some of the benefits that these partnerships gave them in terms of what they were able to do and how they were able to increase their impact. Now, the reason I was asked to be the moderator of this session is because the reason I was invited to join Rotary was because of a partnership. In 2008, I was a member of Engineers Without Borders, and we were looking for a partner to help us with our project in Sierra Leone, West Africa. We quickly learned about Rotary and the Rotary Foundation, and I became the spokesperson for our Engineers Without Borders chapter. After about a year of doing this, with many, many Rotary clubs in the Lehigh Valley, I just kept meeting these incredible people. And I really wanted to be one of you. And fortunately for me, in 2011, I was invited to join Rotary. And I love it. And I've been involved super in many ways. And so that's one benefit, at least for me, in terms of a partnership in Rotary. Now, with that as a short intro, I'd like to introduce you now to Rick Yoder. Rick is a member of the Rotary Club of Goshen, Indiana. And let's hear his story.
I'm Rick Yoder with the Goshen Rotary Club, Goshen, Indiana. And I became involved with Rotary five and a half years ago. And shortly after that time, our Rotary president at the time, Danielle Thompson, invited me to be a part as a new member of a Red Badge project. If you don't know what that is, it's the red badges or the blue badges. The people that are in their first year have the red badges. So a project just to get new people involved in the club. And she said, "Hey, would you do this with other Red Badge members and pick what you want?" We had recently had a club meeting where Chris Russell from Destiny Rescue had come and spoken. Destiny Rescue is an international nonprofit that rescues girls from sex trafficking. And frankly, I was in tears that club meeting. My jaw hit the floor. I didn't realize that there were the numbers of girls, over 1 million, are being sex trafficked currently in the world today. And Destiny Rescue was doing something about it. And in my mind, we had to do something. So we formed a committee, and our goal was to raise $40,000 that first year. And the partnerships that we created through that, the superintendent of schools was a part of our club, and we decided to do what was called a Freedom Walk. And it was the first ever Freedom Walk that was created. And our goal was to go out and walk around the track at Goshen High School and raise money for that process. The superintendent of schools, because he was a club member, he made that process completely free for us. It would have been, I think, around $9,000 with all the rentals and all the expenses that would have been a part of that to fully rent out that facility for the amount of time that we had it for. He not only provided the facility, he also provided custodial staffing and showed up and was part of our committee and was completely on the ground floor with everything with that. We had a goal of raising $40,000 that first year, and we passed that goal. We reset it multiple times and ended up raising $129,000 and rescuing 83 girls that first year. It was beyond our wildest dreams. We were super thrilled. New Way Construction is a local construction firm. They came on board with us on several levels through donations, as well as they put up a billboard for us. And actually, they've done that the last 3 years. We've continued this project. Great big billboard right along one of the state roads. So that was another phenomenal benefit for us. this year we are moving away from Goshen High School. We just decided that we wanted to have something that was not on a track. We have a canal that goes through our city, and there is a crushed limestone track right adjacent to that. So we wanted to set it up as a 5K or 10K run. And Arts on the Mill Race is right at that same time in the same space. And so it's been pretty cool. We're still kind of in the founding stages of this because we haven't actually had the event yet. The event is September 7th. If anybody wants to be involved, I will provide that information. And that would allow us, you'd be able to be come and visit our club on that day, or you could also donate and be a part of it from afar as well. But Arts in the Mill Race is basically local artists who have canvases and other types of art that will be out there, and so that will be going on while we have people running past. So their event kind of starts towards the end of ours. So it'll be very interesting to see how this functions. It allows us to use their soundstage and some really neat pieces like that. So we're very excited about partnering with Arts in the Mill Race. We have made flyers that show the Freedom Walk and Arts in the Mill Race side by side. So those are going to be going up. We'll put those in, we'll go through downtown Goshen and talk with area businesses and touch base with them on having them allow us to be a part of that. I would like to give out my email address and phone number if anybody wants to further contact me on that. My phone number is 574-202-7425. That number again is 574-202-7425. And also my email is rick.yoder@edwardjones.com. That's rick.yoder@edwardjones.com. Since that time, I am actually now on the board for Destiny Rescue, and I'm a board member with Destiny Rescue as a part of that. And so that was another piece that came out of this partnership, is that I am now fully functioning in that role as well. And this is now my presidential year with Rotary. So just a lot of real positive changes that have come out of that initial event, and Danielle asking me to run the Red Badge project in the first place. So that concludes my remarks. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rick. An amazing story about, a project with new Rotarians that has clearly had an impact on their community, not only from the perspective of shining a light on Rotary so people are aware, but also, more importantly, how it's impacting the lives of so many people.
Yep. In the last 3 years, we've raised over 300,000 and rescued. If you divide it by 1,500, that's the 1,500 is the amount to rescue one girl and get her on the road to freedom. So if you divide that 300,000 out, that's how many girls we've rescued. So thank you, Herb.
Wow. Okay, well, let's move on. Our second speaker today is Richard Segan. Richard is a member of the Rotary Club of Brookline, Massachusetts. And I'm just going to let Richard tell his story. So Richard, it's all yours.
Thank you, Herb, and thank you, Cindy, for organizing this event and for inviting me. I don't believe there's any magic bullet for building Rotary membership growth and promoting the Rotary image, but I strongly believe that partnerships can be one of our most effective tools. I'm going to talk about two events that our club in Brookline, Massachusetts did this year as examples of partnerships and expanding and changing the image of Rotary, leading to membership growth and more interest in Rotary in the local community. So first, we held a public forum on climate change, and Rotary District 7910 has an incredible toolkit for climate change forums. Our club had held numbers of environmental programs over the last year, and the district toolkit would allow any club to do what our club did. So thanks, Herb. This is a flyer that we use to promote the event, and it captures a number of the features that helped expand our horizons and outreach. While our club, the Rotary Club Brookline, was the prime mover behind the event, we partnered with 5 other organizations and invited each of them to be co-sponsors. Herb, if you could scroll down a little bit so people could see, there you go, further down, we see the partner organizations, yes. So we formed an interagency planning committee with representatives of each of the organizations. And this was valuable also as we got to know each other, and it really laid the groundwork for future collaboration and future partnerships. Each of the partner organizations also agreed to promote the event to their mailing list and to post it on their websites. We also invited a leading researcher on the impact of global climate change from the Boston University School of Public Health. She was a featured speaker, and her involvement was an added draw. The town's health department was also one of the co-sponsors, and we held the event actually at their suggestion during National Public Health Week as one of a series of local events that they were doing that week. And the same day during National Public Health Week, when the focus of the day throughout the country, throughout the United States, was the implications of climate change for public health. So as you may be able to see from the flyer, we featured each of the partnership organizations in the promotional materials, and we also allowed each of them to speak at the program. And this helped with the buy-in and the perceived value from the partnership organizations. We held the event at a local public library, and despite it being a stormy night and questions were raised about whether or not we should cancel the event, 91 people showed up. About 20 were Rotarians, and the rest, 70, were non-Rotarians, and most were attending their first ever Rotary event. So one of the attendees at the event commented, and I think it takes us back to Rotary and membership. She had been involved in a Rotaract club 30 plus years ago, and she was thrilled and very pleasantly surprised that Rotary was involved in an educational campaign about climate change. And she was also excited to hear about, we shared some of the other Rotary priorities and projects that we were working on. So it made Rotary relevant in a way that she hadn't thought it was, and renewed her interest in us. And the reality is she would not have attended if it weren't for the partnerships with the other local community organizations that got her in the door to attend this event. So the other program I'd like to briefly mention was titled Global Conflicts, Rotary's Toolbox for Peace. Herb, if you could put up the next slide. So the idea for this program came from one of our members, and I have to thank District Governor 7910 Governor Elliot Rittenberg for his help in connecting us with Rotary Foundation trustee Marty Hellman. Marty is involved in establishing Rotary's newest Peace Center in Istanbul, Turkey. And if you haven't heard her speak or read about her work, it's really worth checking out. So members of our club had been talking about global conflicts and what role we might play in helping those impacted and helping with conflict resolution. And it was very unclear what role we might play. Few of us knew about the Rotary Peace Centers or the Peace Fellowship Program. So in this case, although one of our partners was a community organization, the key partnerships were really with 3 other Rotary clubs. The clubs together worked on the planning and promotion of the program. And if we do another program, which we're talking about now, will likely involve other community partners, as there was lots of interest in the program from outside the Rotary community. By the way, in promoting the event, we explained that we would not be talking about the war in the Middle East or in Ukraine, but about Rotary's work in the unfortunately timely area of conflict resolution, conflict resolution. So the program was extremely well received, and it highlighted Rotary's nonpartisan work on an issue of great concern to many. And I should add that the forum was a positive not only in helping the outside community see Rotary in a positive light, but also for the Rotarians that attended. I think they all left feeling very proud to be Rotarians with a new awareness of Rotary's role in tackling some of the world's most difficult problems. So I think my time is about up, and I want to conclude with 5 points related to partnerships and membership growth. One, community partnerships. There's real value in partnering with other organizations in our communities. We need not go it alone. Partnerships with other organizations in the community can be a win-win. The climate change and environmental organizations that we worked with were very appreciative of the exposure that we provided to them, and we gained from the exposure to others that we did not know or knew very little about Rotary. Secondly, partnership with Rotary clubs. There's also real value in partnering with Rotary clubs. We can learn from and support one another. Thirdly, Rotary has a wealth of resources. They're not always easy to tap into, but there's real value in persevering and tapping into them if you can. Fourth, take a long view. Our club, in this case, actually did almost immediately gain some new members as a result of these partnerships. However, I think we need not necessarily expect a one-to-one relationship in which you take action and more members appear at your door. It's good to take a long view. I expect that our club in Brookline is going to gain even more members over time as we've helped present Rotary in a different light than commonly perceived. And we had the opportunity to share and pitch the wonderfully positive features of the Rotary community to the larger community. And five, Rotary, I believe, is doing some spectacular work in the peace centers and more generally in our 7 areas of focus. So sharing that work by partnering with other organizations in our communities on the projects and educational forums like these can change perceptions about Rotary and lead to interest by others outside the Rotary community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Another example, a bit different than the first one, but equally impactful. I mean, you've actually helped your community understand more about how Rotary can be more involved, and building those kind of partnerships. Just, you know, they have such an impact on both increasing our impact and, you know, and expanding our reach as well. So thank you, Richard.
Thank you, Herb.
Okay, so now our third presenter today is James Wiley. And James is a member of the Rotary Club of Environmental Sustainability, REACH, in Huntington, Long Island. And I'll give you a hint. One of the outcomes of what James is going to share with you is a brand new Rotary Club that he is a member of. So James, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Herb and Richard. I couldn't summarize better the 5 points that you brought up. I echo that 100%. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Everything changed for me in my 10th year. Actually, it was in my 8th year of Rotary, when Rotary added the environment as the 7th area of focus. And it really opened up a whole new world of possibilities for my club to be more engaged and relevant in the community. I know, Richard, you were talking, you had the R word there too, relevance, bringing relevance to the community. What does Rotary do? And we do so many things. And sometimes I feel like we're the best kept secret in town. But that is changing. 3 years ago, coming out of the pandemic, our district leaders came up with really creative ways to help clubs get back in the game with some DDF that had accumulated during the lockdown. And we chose to introduce kids to the wonders of the seashore with shell exploration kits developed by the aquaculture experts at the Cornell Cooperative Extension Marine Program. Our relationships with community members and corporate partners and with each other blossomed from there. We quickly realized that all of the pieces of the puzzle were on the table, and we just had to put them all together. The town of Huntington had all the facilities. We were a waterfront town primarily, with 2 bays and 5 harbors on Long Island Sound, with Connecticut across the way. So the town had all the facilities. Cornell had the brains, and Rotary had the brawn. We had the volunteers and the reach into the community, and also, of course, additional funding sources. So we created a partnership between the town of Huntington, CCE Marine, and Rotary to come up with sensible solutions to our pressing problems. How can we improve water quality, restore habitat, and support aquaculture, which is a really important part of our heritage maritime industry? Because of overfishing and pollution, our water quality is really bad. I mean, Long Island has serious water quality issues due primarily to population density and inadequate infrastructure. So we produce an excessive amount of biomatter and nutrients that flow from our watersheds into our embayments. And way too often, this creates toxic algae blooms that close our beaches and decimates local marine ecosystems. That's a big problem. So we put our heads together and tried to figure out, how do we address this? So we came up with 4 projects that we focus on throughout the year. The pollution problem doesn't stop in the fall or the winter. It keeps going around the clock. So we grow oysters in the summer and build reefs. We build oyster reefs to filter water and restore habitat. We cultivate sugar kelp in the winter to extract CO2 and nitrogen from our embayments. Then we harvest it. We harvest the sugar kelp, dry it, and mill it for use as an organic biostimulant for our lawns and our gardens. So we're creating cyclical ecology and cyclical economy. If we can grow something locally and organic to use on our lawns and gardens instead of a petroleum-based fertilizer from Texas, we might decrease our nutrient load in our embayments. We plant rain gardens with indigenous ecotype pollinators to feed bees and to slow runoff. And finally, we collect oyster shells all year round, capturing them from the waste stream. And we use them as the preferred substrate for reef restoration efforts all throughout the region. So we have shell recycling partners, basically restaurants that do a good business in clams and oysters, and we cure those shells and eventually reintroduce those shells into our embayments with tiny oysters on them. And those are the building blocks of our reefs. Once we developed a plan, word got out and volunteers and sponsors started asking questions about how they could get involved. And we knew it was really important, really crucial to keep it simple and keep it focused with slow, steady growth. We also wanted to be all about tangible project work where progress is quantified and qualified. Rotary would be the portal for meaningful citizen science by giving year-round access to anyone interested in environmental sustainability projects. So our oyster reef project has been like the dock of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Like the Kevin Costner movie. So it soon became very obvious that this project and this work required a club of its own. So the District 7255 leaders supported us absolutely 100%. And then once we made the decision to branch off and start fresh, start a brand new club, we had 32 members who came from our volunteer corps, and they signed up in 2 weeks. So 28 of them, 28 out of the 32 members were brand new to Rotary. We have a diverse group of sponsors from local utility companies, the Sierra Club, and other Rotary clubs. Without a major marketing push, local businesses give generous donations. And I believe the environment tag really makes it easy for everyone to get involved. It's a no-brainer that attracts everyone. Volunteers become members, families participate. Often it's the kids who are dragging their parents to the docks. We've inspired a bunch of students to get serious about aquaculture, and at least 3 of our kids are fired up about pursuing related majors in college, and one of them will be studying marine biology at the University of Tampa this fall. So once we developed the themes, our environmental projects grew organically. It all comes down to building relationships through partnerships and through coalitions. And we emphasize the basics: be nice and have fun. Then the true power of Rotary truly does come through. And to quote Ted Lasso, one of my favorite philosophers, teamwork makes the dream work. So thank you, Rotary.
Well, thank you, James. Thank you for that third example of what the impacts of partnerships are or can be through Rotary. Well, I hope all of you who have been listening today, maybe there's something in one or more of these talks that you can take back to your club and maybe help increase your impact and expand your reach through partnerships. So thank you very much.
Simply irresistible.